Welcome back to another episode of the Mediocrity Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike Forrest. We got a special episode today. I've been looking forward to this one ever since my guest said he was open to do it. So I think this is going to be my best episode yet. My guest today was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was the Ohio Baseball Player of the Year his senior year in high school. He was a third-round draft pick for the Houston Astros, straight out of high school. He spent 3 seasons with the Astros, I believe 2 seasons with the Chicago Cubs, and a season with the Boston Red Sox. That could be a podcast all alone. But then he played 13 seasons in Japan, where he was a 10-time All-Star, the 2001 Pacific League MVP, 7-time Best 9 award winner, 4-time home run leader, 3-time RBI leader, all-time leader in home runs for a foreign-born player, and 13th all-time in the Japanese League period. He has 464 career home runs, and he should be a member of the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, but we'll talk about that, maybe why he's not, a little later in the thing. So anyway, my guest today is Tuffy Rhodes. Tuffy, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Like I said, your careers, I could do one just on your minor league and major league baseball career, then a whole nother one that might be 2-3 hour Joe Rogan like in your time in Japan. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So yeah, I was super looking forward to doing this one. So I'd like to always start off, as I said, born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've read a few things on you where I know you said it wasn't the greatest neighborhood in Cincinnati.
Avondale. Avondale was, if you, for example, when I was growing up, and but the good thing about it is that playing sports, you seem to get a pass. Nowadays a little different, but growing up, you seem to get a pass. But I grew up in probably the roughest neighborhood in Cincinnati called Avondale. If it was 14 murders in a situation, 13 of them probably was in Avondale. And I had to, fight. Sometimes I told I had my best friend, his name's Ernest Samuels, we call him Popo. And it was 2 of us. We went from Rockdale Elementary School to the boys club at night. And the boys club was 9 o'clock closed. And we would always say, 2 we fight, 3 we run. If they catch us, they catch us, But we held our own. But at the same time, I wasn't looking for trouble. But sometimes
sometimes it finds you.
It finds you, and you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, how would you say growing up in that environment shaped you as a player, as a person and a player? I guess
I'm the youngest of 6, and I also have a younger brother. My father got remarried, but I'm the youngest of 6 to my mother, and she put us in sports right away.
Okay,
everybody, the 3 girls, the 3 boys, we played sports nonstop. So I think that we focused on sports more so than focus on the streets. And I think that helped because she worked at Internal Revenue. So from 3 to 11, she had to work. And some nights it was just the kids. But our range was, I was the youngest from 56 down. My oldest brother passed away in 91, but he would have been 64 right now. So, but we would raise each other. They all raised me.
Right.
But I still had a really good childhood. I just stayed away from trouble, did what kids do, and loved to play sports, all 3 sports.
And so you got into sports at a very young age.
5 years old. Yeah, 5 years old. Right away, my mother put me in a T-ball right away. And in the Midwest, we have the 4 seasons, so you play everything. You play when it's winter time for football, baseball in the summer, basketball in the spring, and so we even played indoor soccer. So yeah, we did everything. And if once I didn't do good in school or got in trouble in school, my mother would take sports away from us, all of us. But I was probably the roughest out of the bunch. That's why I got the nickname Tuffy. But
I was going to ask you first and foremost, where did that nickname come from? And obviously it stuck.
It came from the boys club. And, I tell people the story and they kind of get disappointed, like, oh, we thought you beat up like 14 people at the same time. But no, I was at the boys club playing first base and shortstop threw a ball over to me and he just smoked me right in the nose and the eye and the tooth, knocked my tooth out, and I didn't cry. And my coach was like, you're a little tough guy, huh? And I didn't say anything. The next day I come to practice and, hey, Tuffy. And I was like, oh, I guess that's my new name. Yeah. So
What a great nickname too.
I mean, it works out well through Major League Baseball all the way to Japan. They would call me in the office when I first got to the team and say, do you mind if we call you Tuffy? And I said, are you going to pay me on the 1st and 15th? You can call me whatever you want to call me.
So do you not mind Tuffy? Like for me, Tuffy, Carl, doesn't matter.
I've been called Tuffy since I was 6.
Okay.
And, even my mother, my father, my whole family calls me Tuffy. And if you're in Cincinnati and you say Carl, you won't, they really won't know
who you're talking about.
You won't say Tuffy, yeah. But, as I got to Arizona, a lot more people call me Carl, but the neighbors still call me Tuffy.
Okay.
My fiance is the only one that calls me Carl.
And only for bad reasons, probably.
Yeah, and she tried Tuffy for like 4 or 5 days, and she's like, "Nope, I don't like it. I'll stick to Carl." So for 4 years, I've been Carl.
Well, that's still a great story.
Right.
And when did you get into baseball? I think I read your mom used to take you to the Reds games, and you kind of fell in love with the big red machine. It was a heck of a team to root for growing up, huh?
You did your homework, huh? Yeah, that's growing up in Cincinnati. Got born in '68, growing up in the '70s, the big red machine. And I went to the same high school as Pete Rhodes. I went to the same high school as Pete Rhodes did. Rest in peace. But my mom took me to Riverfront, and I was 5 or 6 years old. So I'm saying 73, 74. And that's when they were back to back, then they skipped a couple years and back to back again. And we were sitting in the nosebleed sections, and
it didn't matter.
Ken Griffey Sr. was playing right field, and I know that I am 100% wrong, but I've met him and I've told him the story. I know him well. Me and Ken Griffey Jr. played with each other in summer baseball, played against each other in high school. So he turns around to the right field outfield, and he looks up, and I was 6. I would bet everything that I have that he looked me right in the eyes. Sure. Like right now, he was looking right at me, and although I was way up there, I was like, "Mom, Senior's looking at me. He's looking at me." My mom's like just sitting there, tired from work. That's good, son. That's good, But after that, man,
you were hooked.
I was hooked. I mean, and then you win 4 World Series in the '70s. It's just, and that we're talking 7 Hall of Famers.
Oh yeah,
it was a dream come true.
That's awesome. And then you mentioned you actually went to the same high school as Pete Rose,
Don Zimmer. We had I grew up in Avondale, but Western Hills was on the west side, and I was on the south side. And my mother sent me all the way over to the west side, away from all my neighborhood friends, and to Western Hills. And probably I did not agree with her, but it was the best decision that she made for me. Kept me away from trouble.
Sure.
Didn't worry about me hanging out with my friends growing up. Stayed focused on sports, and I knew if I didn't have good grades, which I'm not saying I was the smartest guy, but I did what it took to keep a B plus average. So because I knew she wasn't gonna let me play. Yeah. But my senior year got really good. She let me drive to school when I was a senior, so that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah.
And you were a star in all the sports, right? You played basketball, football, and baseball in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, football growing up was my least favorite sport, but everybody did it.
Sure.
You had to sign up for something. If you sign up for it, you're not going to quit. And to be honest with you, I couldn't wait to quit football. You just, bam. I played quarterback, which I thought was the safest on offense. And I played free safety, which I thought was the safest on defense, because I can be the last guy in the back and dictate what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Quarterback can hand the ball off and get out the way, but I love sports in general, but football, I think, is an incredible sport, but it really takes a lot.
Oh yeah, it tears your body apart.
Mm-hmm.
No question about that.
Yeah.
And then how were you as a basketball player?
I was well, I still to the day, my sister, she's the youngest girl, Vanessa, say that she think I was a better basketball player than I was a baseball player. But I say to her, the checks speak for themselves.
Exactly.
These scouts are coming at me for baseball. They're not coming at me as much for basketball. But overall, baseball is my love, my mom's love. She's a softball player. I watched her play all through my whole life. And my father was more on the football side. But yeah, my mother was a baseball fanatic. And
And being
That's
a
where I got it
mama's
from.
boy,
I am
right?
definitely 100%
Yeah.
a mama's boy.
You
yes.
can tell reading stuff
Yeah.
on you and just
Oh,
the
yeah.
way you talk about it.
Yeah,
So
everybody
it's
knows
awesome.
that. Yeah, everybody knows it. Yeah.
So you're obviously going to gravitate towards baseball.
Yeah, right.
So.
And, you know, my father and I are incredible.
Sure.
You know, I have a great father. I'm a mama's boy, 100%. Yes. Yes.
So you were obviously all state or all Ohio player of the year, your senior year, center field.
Center field, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You were a 5-tool guy, right?
And
power.
Yeah.
And you pitched.
And I pitched as well too. Yeah. I have a great story that before we went to we was in regions, and my school was Western Hills High School, and Griffey Jr. was on Moeller.
Oh.
And I didn't start the game. Ricky Neville started the game, and he pitched 6 innings. At that time, we played 7 innings, and it was 4-2. And he had 2 guys on base with 2 outs, and I was in center field, and Griff was coming up. We call him Griff, of course. I got him out. We beat that game. We went up to state, and I rubbed it in his face. I've been rubbing that in his face for 40 years. Yeah, yeah. So.
And you guys were state champions that year?
Yeah, state champions. Yeah,
nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, it's funny. My senior year, we won state champion, but my sophomore year was our best team.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was our best team. Yeah, and I disappointed the team, and kind of like a little. We played in Walney Hills, which was closer to my home. So Coach Selby let me go home first, and then meet the team at the high school, and I fell asleep.
Oh boy!
And I got to the stadium right when the game was starting, and so I had to sit the bench for 5 innings, and we lost 2-1.
Oh man!
And that was by far that was our state team. That was our best team. Yeah, and I was supposed to pitch that day, and I said
you
never
probably
again.
Still think about that 100%. Today.
You know, people. It's crazy, and we always think about the stuff, the championships that we lost more than the championships that we won.
Yeah. Yeah. So at being a pitcher, and you were a very good pitcher. I mean, I looked, what, 0.72 ERA?
I thought I was going to get drafted as a pitcher.
That you thought you were?
I thought the first being left-handed.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So doing a pitch, and how fast did you throw?
I got about 88, and that's pretty good as a left-handed,
especially
especially lefty too, yeah. I'm consistently about 88, but 90 every once in a while when it's sweat in the summertime. And you know, it's the Midwest, so we're playing baseball in March, which can still be freaking cold. Yeah, but I thought I was going to be a left-handed pitcher. You know, goes without saying.
Yeah.
So.
And when in high school did you realize? I'm sure with all your accolades and everything you were doing, scouts started coming to see you play.
Yeah, the summer, my junior year going into my senior year, the summer. That's when it really started getting crazy. They started coming to my house, and really? I knew what's going on. I got coaches coming to my house. I got summer teams they're just pulling up in these nice cars too, tinted windows. Does Tuffy live there? And I'm like, oh yeah. Man, I'm like, yeah, they must really want me. And my mom, we sat down with coach after coach after coach. This was summer league.
Yeah.
And then going into my senior year in high school, then that's when the scouts started coming to my high school and started taking me to lunch, you know, having me run, catch, throw, you know, the things that you could do within the legal realms of drafting.
So you had a pretty good idea then,
right there,
that in your senior year that you were going to get drafted.
And that's the year I quit football. I was so happy. My high school teammates were so mad because we had a really good football team running an option, but I talked to the coach and I understood, and I said, Coach, I'm not going to be able to make 2-a-days or summer camp. And he was like, well, that's not fair. If you can't make summer camp, you can't play on the football team. And on the inside, I was like, yes. But on the outside, I was like, I'm sorry, Coach. You know, this happens, and I'm sorry we can't come to some kind of agreement.
Did you do anything draft day? I know it's not the same now than it was. Listen to the radio probably to wait for your name to be called.
No, it was crazy. I went to Midland with my summer team. I went to the baseball game and was just watching the game. And, you know, that's 86.
Yeah.
I don't know how my mother found me, but somehow they got word that I've been drafted and I needed to get home right away because my scout name was Dave Lakey, would be calling me within the next 45 minutes. So, and I still to this day don't know how in the world my mother got word to
you and the media.
She must have talked to someone at the house, and they drove out to the ballpark. I can't quite remember because I was driving.
Yeah.
And got word that I had to be at home because Dave Lakey was my scout. He'll be calling me within the next 45 minutes.
How did it feel once you found out?
I was excited.
Were you disappointed a little bit? Did you think you might go higher just because you had so many scouts looking at you?
I didn't. I thought that I would. They told me later in the first round, top 3 rounds for sure. I knew that 100%. So, and I was in the early rounds, the third round, so I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But the thing that surprised me, I was like, so am I pitching or am I hitting? And they were like, you're definitely 100% hitting. So I was like, great. That's great for me.
Okay. Is that what you prefer?
Yeah, because I would hit 3 people in the back and then throw 3 strikes down the middle. Yeah, the control wasn't the best. It wasn't the best, yeah. So, I would move from one side of the rubber to the other side just to try to get 3 strikes sometimes. Yeah. But I threw hard, and that's what got
all
me
they care.
back.
And like you said, you were a lefty.
And a lefty too, yeah. So, yeah.
And then, and you were only 17.
17,
when you got drafted. So super young, you get assigned to rookie ball out in Sarasota.
Yeah.
What's that? I guess playing summer ball, you had left home before, I guess, then?
Yeah.
So you were kind of used to, but how was it really going out to Sarasota as a 17-year-old?
2 things, first of all, no more aluminum bats. You have to use wooden bat. I started out the season going 0 for 32. And I went into the coach's office and I said, you guys can have your money back, send me home. He was Spanish and he was la punta, like, get out of my office. And I end up going 65 for 22. 222, hitting 293 and just started raking. But the bats were totally different for me. And, they had better curveballs. Some guys were really good, of course. But
I think your mom kind of helped you out a little bit too, I read, right? Like you would call home
every day. You did your homework. I would call home, and that's collect. Yeah, there are no cell phones. And I would call home every day. And she was like, son, I love you, but don't call here anymore. And I called her bluff and called the next day and quick call from Tuffy. And she said no, and I started. I was killing her phone. I was killing that bill. Yeah. I was like, Mama, you got the sign-up bonus. And she's like, so we want to keep that money. She made me buy my first car with a $5,000 car, no matter what. She did great. But she
and your signing bonus had to be pretty good.
Yeah,
being a 17-year-old, third round too, with the threat of going to college.
Really Florida State was. My brother went to Indiana State, played football, so that was one of the places I went. But I was going south. Yeah, 100%. Get into nice weather. Florida State where I wanted to go, but the Astros just made my family and I offer. We couldn't refuse. Yeah, because I was 17, so. My parents had to sign the contract with me, and my mother was like, no, he's going to college. So they threw college in there, and then my mother said something else, so they threw that in there. So they were like, Miss Rhodes, anything else? And
take care of my baby.
They covered all the bases, yeah. So, and I joke with my mom about it. They got older and started getting a little money in my pocket. I was like, Mom, you still want to go to college? Because it's funny that I can still call the Houston Astros. And they will still have to give me 4 years of college.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Well, I don't think you need to go back.
Yeah, I got to start.
You're all right.
I speak Japanese now. I need to start speaking Spanish. I'm really lazy in Spanish. So.
And we'll get into how long that took you to learn and all that stuff a little later. But so you ended up obviously started terrible. Ended up having a great year. Yeah. Get promoted. You kind of made your way
like a 4-year college, just 4 years of college.
Like college. Yeah, I was going to say every year got promoted like you're supposed to. Yeah. I would say you didn't have any standout seasons though, right? Like
I would do all this. I was 17, 18. I had guys on my team that came from college as well. They were in their 20s. Had families 21, 22, and I didn't hurt the team. I didn't hurt the team at all. I really helped the team, but I wasn't like some of the guys on my team. Craig Biggio, went from A-ball straight to AAA for a month, right to the big leagues.
Incredible.
He was 21 years old. What makes it different? Yes,
of course.
I tell people all the time, the 21-year-old me and against the 18-year-old me had no chance.
Yeah.
Had no chance. Just that 4 years experience, what you learn mentally is incredible as well.
Sure.
Especially as from a young man, still being a young man, but that 4 years experience is becoming a man is big and key.
Yeah, especially playing with the big boys.
Big boys, yes.
And then, like you said, I mean, you were only 17, 18, so it's actually pretty remarkable to move up.
Yeah, and
every year, and again, nothing spectacular, but good seasons.
Right,
all
good
seasons.
all consistent. Yeah, consistent.
Consistency.
I didn't hit, and I did not lift weights at all. I ran well, really well, and I did not. I was a gap to gap guy, singles, gap to gap, and then
great defensive player.
Great defensive player, yes.
So you finally get called up.
Mm-hmm.
What was that day? It was August 7th, 1990 against the Giants. What was the call up like? How was the call up story?
Yeah.
What was going through your head when they told you were going to the show?
The day before I got called up on the 6th, I went 5 for 5. The 7th, I went 1 for 5, and we're coming back. We're coming in. It's in Tucson, Arizona. We're coming into the locker room, and I'm sitting down, and our coach was Coach Skinner, and we had Brett Strom was our pitching coach, and Brett said, "Skinner want to see you," and I'm like, "Oh crap, what did I do? What's going on?" I'm thinking the worst.
Yeah.
And he gets me in there and sit down. I'm in this little corner. It's the locker. His office is half of this size, if that, and you're in the corner like that. See, and he's sitting right across like that, and he's like shaking his head and patting his foot, and he's like, "Going to Houston tomorrow." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You're going to Houston," and I just fell out the seat, man. And I was probably one of the greatest experiences that I've ever felt in my life, knowing that I was going to Houston. And then when you get to Houston,
how was the call to your mom?
I'm sorry. Yeah, she accepted that collect call because I called her like right there. Yeah, I went back to the hotel, and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, we did it." "What do you mean we did it?" I said, "We're going to Houston." And she, my mom can cuss. She's a cusser. She's like, "Are you effing with me?" I'm like, "No, we going to Houston. We're going to Houston, and we'll be in Cincinnati a week later." And she's like, "Okay, we're going to have a barbecue. We're going to have a party." I'm like, "Mom, no, I have to still play baseball.
Go play now.
I still have to play." So he called me when I get to Houston. I get to the hotel, and we're playing against the Giants. And that's the first time in my life I saw a backdoor slider. And I went 1 for 3 my first night, but my first at bat, you could have threw me a ball 300 miles, I would have hit it. It was the first pitch, high fastball, about the heck. I popped up to first base. I mean, I remember it like yesterday. Second at bat, I was battling 2-2, and the pitcher,
Steve Bedrosian.
Yeah. He threw me a backdoor slider, and I said to myself,
"What is that?
What the world was that pitch?" And I walked back to the dugout, and I sat down, and Ken Caminetti said to me, "Welcome to the big league." Because I asked him, I said, "What was that?" He said, "That was a backdoor slider. Welcome to the big leagues." And then I knew right away he was going to try to start something away, maybe try to run a two-seamer or decoy for the back. I jumped on that first pitch, base hit over the shortstop's head, my first hit in major leagues. So.
Yeah, but that bat rocked pretty good. Yeah, oh my goodness. I could have tried to go for 2. Just couldn't. You don't want to stop. Your adrenaline just
going and going and going, and there's 50 to 60,000 people in the eighth wonder of the world. We're in an Astrodome.
Yeah.
And it's, the ringing in your head it's unexplainable.
Yeah, it's got to be the coolest moment. I talked to Ben Francisco. I had him on the show, and he was he said it was almost like he blacked out.
It's like
almost in blackout mode.
It's like an outer body experience. Yeah. Especially when my first home run was in Wrigley, and I can see myself. Awesome. I can see myself running around the bases, and I thought I was like still at home plate, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, then it comes back in like the Matrix helps. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, so
yeah,
it worked out. I mean, it didn't really work out the way I planned for it to be, but the experience was but it made me the man I am today, and it taught me how to play baseball further down my career when I left
Sure.
the country. Yeah.
How was it coming up? Because you had mentioned a couple of times, obviously, you played rookie ball with Biggio,
Mm-hmm.
come up with Jeff Bagwell. He was a rookie with you.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Gonzalez,
yes.
Ken Caminetti,
Yeah.
Kurt Schilling in the bullpen on that. I was going to ask you, like, how was Art Howe as a manager to you? Because I looked at this 92 team you guys had,
Yeah.
and you lost 67. You won 67 games only. I
Yeah.
looked at this lineup.
You see how young we were?
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
But
I guess so. I just look at this lineup going, that lineup's like a Hall of...
well,
Steve Finley
was on that team. Yeah, but that was the first year. You had Jeff and I. Jeff won Rookie of the Year. Luis Gonzalez and Jeff and I, Luis Gonzalez were all three rookies who made our debut that year.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeff, and he won Rookie of the Year. And I'm not saying only, he hit 277, 27 home runs, and like 90 RBIs. And Luis Gonzalez hit 250. I hit like 230, 214. I really struggled mentally. I started out the gate just hot. But then when you go through a slump, it's hard to recover for some people, and I wasn't able to recover then. So, but we were young, and I think we were young, but we had some veterans sprinkled in there. Caminetti played first base for us. Julian Davis played first base for us. Yeah, good enough, great guy. But you know, Kurt turned out to be incredible. He
was coming out of the bullpen at that time.
Yeah, we hung out a lot. We had dogs, so Kurt and I hung out a lot. Okay. Yeah, we hung out a lot. Yeah.
He gets a bad rap, don't he? Good dude. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you have to get to know him. He has a personality that you have to get used to. Sure. But there's always people like that. I mean, he's not like the only person, but he gets it. He gets it bad. Yeah, he gets it bad. Yeah.
And then your time with Houston was kind of short. I guess you had 2 seasons or two and a half up and down.
Yes.
Then you get traded to Chicago.
Yes.
What was it like getting traded to Chicago? What was going through your mind when you found out you were traded? Were you happy about it?
You know, of course, being in Houston, you don't want to leave your first team. You know, but
you see Wrigley on TV every day. Sure.
And I played there, but at the same time, not from the third base side. And I'm like, I'm going to Chicago. What a great sports town. What a great baseball town. And I took the same mentality from Houston to Chicago instead of understanding that this was another opportunity for me. And I came out the gate early.
Yeah, because you got called up, kind of in August again?
Yes, yeah. I got traded.
September call-up.
Got traded. They sent me to Des Moines, Iowa. We won the championship, Triple A's championship.
You hit the game-winning home run.
He gave me the home run, yeah. He sure did. And we went, like 11 of us went to Chicago after that and played well. Really, I played really well the September and hit 4 or 5 home runs, hit about 270, 278, and I played well.
Did you think at that time, okay, maybe I had it figured out?
Yeah, I thought, but then you go to the off season, then you forget everything that you're supposed to do. People don't realize it's not what you do on the field, it's what you do off the field. To maintain the consistency of what you do and just watching professionals be professionals. And I was a professional baseball player, but at the same time, I didn't do my professional work.
And you were on a team with the Cubs with Ryan Sandberg.
And Mark Grace.
Sammy
Sosa.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Bouchette. And I just missed Maddox. He just got traded to the Braves. But I was with Sean Dunston's on that team as well.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredible. Mark Grace, probably one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball, average-wise.
Yeah.
And, it
was one of those things like you were saying before, right? You're walking in, you saw Bagwell working hard. And I imagine those guys, Sandberg and Grace, are doing the same thing, extra hitting, extra.
Everything. And Sandberg and I had the same agent, and I ended up winning the home run. Winning the center field job the next season and batting first. And started out the first month, won the player of the month and everything. And
let's talk about the next year. You make your first opening day roster.
Yes.
Hey, how did that feel?
Incredible. I thought I was ready. We played 2 spring training games in Minnesota. Opened up against the Mets. That's
Doc
94. Doc Gooden.
Doug Gooden
Yeah.
on the mound.
Yeah, he tried to trick me my first at bat with a 3-2 curveball, put it in the seats.
Yeah.
Second at bat.
How'd that feel, hitting that against Doc Gooden? I mean, I imagine.
Doc Gooden first of all, I'm looking out there, and that's the white Gooden out there I'm facing. So just take a deep breath. I want to go out there and ask for his autograph, but I'm working against him. Yeah. I want to work against him. I'm working against him. So I was feeling really good. I just stayed through the middle. And at that time, that day, that's when the wind was blowing out the left, and I had my balance, didn't stand back, and he threw me a 3-2 curveball, and that was the first one I hit. And I probably could have ran around the bases about 20 times because I got around those bases so fast and into that locker room.
I didn't even know what just happened. Just didn't know what just happened. It was crazy.
Then second at bat, he threw me a 3-1 fastball and put that in the seats, and my adrenaline slowed down a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm here, enjoy it. You're in Wrigley. Hillary Clinton was there as well. She threw out the first pitch. Yeah, and so I was great. But then I knew going up my third at bat, that's the white Gooden out there, and something's going to happen. And sure enough,
I was going to say, you're expecting a
oh my goodness,
ball to the
ear ball, just something, helmet falls off, bat flies out, and then he threw the next pitch and whack, hit another one. I couldn't believe it.
Are you thinking around at first, where am I at now? Holy shit.
And to get the curtain call, and I'm thinking, what is going on? It almost to a point to where it can be frightening, because 3 at-bats, 3 home runs, the only player in baseball history opening day with 3 consecutive. I mean, there's guys who had 3 home runs, but
3 in a row.
Mine were 3 in a row. And I'm on the pace to hit, but 600.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I was like, come on. So, and it was a great day. We lost 12-8, but it was a great day.
Nobody remembers that.
Man, that's crazy. We lost 12, and I was on WGN radio shows, pizza places, restaurants, every day, interviews, and I just wanted to play baseball, but at the same time I knew I was in Chicago, and I was really happy for my start because I had a great month. I had 8 home runs, 6 to 8 home runs in the first month, 3 hitting above like 324, great start. But going on, we went to New York, and I had to do like 4 TV shows in New York, and it was getting a little overwhelming, but there's no excuse. You
just weren't ready for it,
right.
probably.
I wasn't. I was a baseball player who wasn't a student of the game. Yeah. So,
okay.
Right. So I needed to have my little black book, write down what pitchers are throwing, what pitches.
Yeah.
Watching Ryan Sandberg, watching Mark Grace do that, and I watched Andre Dawson do that, and I don't know why, but I was 21, 22.
Yep.
You think that you're adult, but you're really not. They say that man's average brain developed at 25. I think it took me about 27.
Yeah.
So when I got to Japan, that's when I knew it was time to become a student of the game. I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had no choice, either become a fireman or continue my career.
I was going to say, so you end up then kind of flaring out with the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
They trade you to Boston.
Trade me to Boston.
You last a month there?
Yeah, they didn't. They had Tinsley. Was they starting center fielder, and I knew it was starting to trickle down because I was just there. He pulled his hamstring, and I was just there to fill in while he was and I knew it because they sent me to AAA, still paying me a major league salary. So everything with the major league meal money and everything.
And luckily, that was my free agent year. And I was in Pawtucket.
And at this time, I didn't know. I'm just playing baseball. I'm figuring, enough already. I'm not mentally tough. I'm mentally ready to myself.
Yeah.
I think that, I had some friends that were firefighters and good job, great career. And so I'm thinking, but I had a Japanese scout come to the game. We were playing against Tigers, I think, Detroit Tigers. I'm not quite sure. This was 95. And the big left-hand, his son got drafted, big left-hander. And John's pitching in the major leagues, right-hander, throws real hard. Starts with an L, last name starts with an L. He's a big left-hander.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Dad played.
Yeah, Dad. Yeah,
He played for the Mets.
Yes, he played for the Cardinals as well.
Well,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Driving me crazy. What is it, Dave?
Yeah, his son just got drafted.
Yeah.
Detroit throws hard. Out of college. He was pitching in rehab, and I had 2 home runs off of him. They came to see another guy, Rusty Neville, I think.
Yeah.
They came to see him play first baseman. But that day I hit 2 home runs, and I get into the locker room, and coach calls me in office, and he says, "There's a Japanese scout that wants to talk to you." And I was all mentally done, and I said, "I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to nobody." Jumped in the car, just left. Finished up the season, go home, and back to Houston, and get a phone call from my agent, and he say, "I got some good news and some bad news." And I was like, "Well, give me the good news." He said, "I got a team that wants you to play every day." And I was like, "What's the bad news?" And he said, "It's in Japan, and they're offering you this contract." I said, "Look, where do I sign?"
Yeah, I don't care if it's on Mars.
Man, Russia.
Play every day with a contract.
If I was playing in Russia, I'd be drinking some vodka and a parson, and I'm ready to go. But I could not believe that they offered me a 2-year contract at that number.
Sure.
I got to about $350,000 in major leagues, which was good at those days. But they were doubling and tripling my salary that fast without me being there one day. Of course, I was going to sign that contract.
Yeah.
And right then, when I signed that contract, I asked them to send me every video of every pitcher that I am going to face in my division. The American League, which is called the Pacific League over there. Send me a picture of every pitch. Send me a video of every pitcher. And
so you grew. You knew
right there because I was 27, turning 28, and I had a kid, and I knew that was my back was against the wall. I had nowhere else to go. Either I was going to
study the game.
I was going to come out fighting, or I was just going to be another situation where I was one of those guys who had all the potential and didn't pan out.
So the team was
Kintetsu
Buffaloes.
Yes.
And that was kind of like a small market team for that, right? Kind of like the Royals.
Yeah, or the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the Minnesota Twins, yeah. But the best thing that happened to me is that I didn't go to a Yankee or a Red Sox or a Dodger or a Brave team.
Right, you didn't end up at the Tokyo Giants.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I didn't start there.
Yeah.
Because I got to Japan and...
Yeah, talk to me about just the culture shock from, kid inner city, Cincinnati. It's a culture shock for anybody. I went there on our honeymoon when I was 30.
Yeah.
And no English anywhere. No, it couldn't be anything.
And I lived in Osaka. I didn't live in Tokyo.
Right.
So it wasn't like you were going to walk down the street and ask, excuse me, can I get to McDonald's or, something in English? They weren't having that, which is the second biggest city in the country, but it's really a Japanese city.
Yes.
That you have foreigners, but a foreign area, but you're not in Tokyo.
Yeah, we went to Kyoto.
Oh yeah, beautiful,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Japan's one of my favorite countries. It's unbelievable.
Really safe.
But again, they didn't speak a lick of.
They're not trying to
anywhere.
They're not trying to.
Which I was shocked.
They're not trying to.
Correct.
As in Rome, do as the Romans do. They're not trying to.
Yeah.
If you speak a little broken Japanese, then they'll try to help you because you start. Yeah, but I slept my first. We flew into Osaka. Boom, food's great. Love the food.
Yeah.
We had a good time. All the foreigners together. At that time, it was 3 of us, and then it became 4. And I became a Japanese player, so we can have 5 on our team. So, first day we had great food. They gave us Korean barbecue. You cook it yourself with the great meat. Yeah. So great. I'm like, it's a good start. It's a good start. And I stuck my chopsticks in the rice bowl and they went crazy. They were like, no. And I was like, what did I just do? And they were like, that means death. You ain't got to tell me twice. You got to get that out of there, set it down. So then we go from, our main city is Osaka, but you go to spring training either in Okinawa or Miyazaki. At that time, I was in Miyazaki in a little city called Hyugo, Japan. And there's no family. There's nobody there. Only the players. If the wives and kids want to come, they got to stay in a hotel, and you can see them maybe after practice or on the day off.
Oh, really?
And it's 30 days of just
The players, just team unity, and back to 2 a day. It's 9 to
8 to 12, and then 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I mean, from day one. It ain't like spring training here.
Yeah.
We're out there by 12. Who's golfing with who?
Who's golfing?
Yeah. Look, you work your way into it. There, it's like right out the gate. It's called nantoka, and it means that whatever it takes. And it's yakyu. They call we baseball. Yakyu doesn't mean game. Baseball game means work, and baseball it's a baseball, but it means work.
Yeah.
You know, they start their kids off from high school. They move into a dormitory if they play baseball. Their only time they see their family is holidays and Christmas, like they're at college. You know, they're focused on that one thing. But so I get out there, calluses everywhere, and we go back to the hotel. Now the hotel is probably just from your window here over to this door, you know, just with this a bed and a twin size bed, you know, bathroom. And I tell you, I was in my room on my back with all the lights out, looking up at the ceiling, and I said to myself, what the hell am I doing here? And because I wasn't prepared. But then I said to myself, this is the last chance you have. And look at the money that they're offering you. And with sign-up bonuses, incentives, and everything, you got a chance to change you and your family's life.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, from this day on, I'm going to throw everything I know about American baseball, and I'm going to learn how to play baseball in Japan. And I tried, and my coach was Sasaki Kantoku. It was Sasaki head coach, but Kantoku means head coach. And he was the worst with that damn blowhorn. Rhodes! I mean, he's speaking Japanese. I didn't know what he was saying at that time. I was saying in my turn, what he's saying? He's saying, just do a little more. But he was asking me, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so he was tough on me. And Chris Donald was the other hitter, and we had Luis Aquino as our pitcher. And he loved Chris, you know, but he was tough on me. And I was like, don't punch him. Don't punch him. Just remember, every 20th of the month, you're getting money that you've never seen before. And one day it'll all be over. He can't be that bad. And so, to make a long story short, that month was over. We go back to Osaka. He calls me and through the interpreter, I'm taking Tuffy out to dinner. And I'm saying to myself, where's the sake? Because I need to get drunk. And you know, when you're drunk in Japan, you can say whatever you want to say to your boss, and he can't hold it against you because you've been drinking.
So it's real.
It's real. That's real.
funny.
So I can say exactly what I want.
Yeah.
He's going to say exactly what he wants. He's been saying it the whole time. So we get in there, and I'm here. He's here in the middle, and the interpreter's way over here. And I'm saying to myself, why are you in between my interpreter and I?
And so they said, do you want some drink? I said, yes, I want some sake. I want some sake right now. So I got a couple of shots in.
And Fuji said, Fuji that was my interpreter. He said, is there anything you want to say to him? And I said, yes. Why in the hell are you so hard on me? And he paused and he drank his beer. And then he said to me, because I know the potential that you have. I've been watching your videos. I chose you to come over here. They wanted Rusty Nelson. They did not want you. I chose you. This is my first year as a head coach. Both our careers are on the line.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, let me put this sake down.
Yeah.
Now, I said to him, now tell me how to play baseball in Japan. You know, and we sat there for 4 hours, and that's the first time I ever drank red wine as well. And he just told me, this is what you have to think. If you think fastball, think curveball. If you think straight, go crooked. Just whatever you think the opposite. And in the beginning, I struggled, and he kept me in the lineup. That's why I was saying I'm glad I was with Kentetsu.
Sure.
Because the first month, I was hitting about 247, 250, 2 or 3 home runs. But I know if I was with the Giants or the Hanshin Tigers or the Chunichi Dragons, it would have been, because they all have newspapers. Ours was the department stores. They all had newspapers. And I looked at the newspapers and asked my interpreter every day what they saying about the foreigners. And it was just killing us.
And they got a short leash for foreigners.
Especially
for those
teams.
Yes.
Especially those teams. And so I was hitting about 240, 250. That 1 for 4, I could not get over the hump.
Yeah.
But I was still about 100 bets in. I went home and I said to myself, we're facing this guy, Kaneda, and he got a pretty good curveball. And I said to myself, you got to think outside the box. And I watched his video at home. And so next day we're facing him. Bases loaded. Oh, let me go back one. I have to go back to this right here.
Please. Trust me, I can listen to this all day.
But so we're playing in Tokyo Dome, and the bases loaded, no outs. I'm hitting. Now, my American mentality is that I'm going to see a fastball.
Sure.
Power
Bases
gets power.
loaded, power,
No outs. This freaking pitcher threw me 6 forkballs in the dirt, and I swung at 3 of them. So I'm dragging my bat back to the dugout, and I'm hollering, and Sasaki-san is just tearing me up, telling me, come on, Stat. That means be patient.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know what he was saying, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
But I just knew that we both had, we had a long, it wasn't just a sprint, it was a marathon. We were thinking long term. So that was back in April. So we get to June, and we're facing Canada, lefty, and the base loaded, no outs. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. I step out and I breathe. I said, okay, hit this fastball right back up the middle. And then I called timeout. And I said, no.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
He's going to throw me a freaking curveball. 3 balls, no strike. And sure enough, he throws me a curveball. I hit it
To the moon. And I'm running around the bases like, I can't believe I just did that. But
Like you almost cracked the code.
Yeah, I figured it out. And I tried to explain to foreigners, because there were foreigners that I had on my team and other teams, and there were successful foreigners. But some of the foreigners just couldn't figure it out. And I was like, I didn't want to tell my secret.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wanted to win.
Sure.
And how can you guys not see this? That how they pitch the foreigners, they pitch us the same. If the first pitch is the first pitch is a ball, the next pitch is 9 times out of 10 going to be a breaking ball. If the first pitch is strike, that's when they're going to try to sneak their fastball by you. And, that was my first years, and they started figuring out that I started knowing, and I started putting up great numbers. So they started pitching me normal, and it just played to my advantage. I just learned how to play baseball in Japan. Like I said, I was a baseball player in the United States, but in Japan, I became a student of the game.
Yeah. And what's the main difference, would you say, besides the way that they pitched, to you, what's the main difference between Japanese baseball and American baseball, would you say?
2 things. First of all, Japanese baseball is like chess. We play checkers.
Yeah.
Here we try to keep the game as simple as possible. 2 balls, no strike, hit him a fastball.
Yep.
3 balls, 1 strike, hit him a fastball.
Yeah.
Japan, it's nantoka. It's whatever it takes to get you out. Every game is the 7th game of a World Series. We're talking 4-hour games.
Yeah.
I mean, just like if you're hitting, they bring and if you're right-handed, they bring a right-handed pitcher in to face you. I'm hitting, they bring a left-handed pitcher in to face me. You're right-handed, they bring a right-handed pitcher in to face her. Left-handed. Yeah. I mean, 4 different pitchers for 4 different at-bats.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the 7th game of the World Series.
Yeah.
Every day.
Game.
Every day.
Wow.
I'm suicide, bases loaded, suicide squeeze bunts with bases loaded in the first inning. They bunt, the leadoff hitter get on, they bunt the ball, man at second base, the first inning.
Yeah.
We don't play baseball like that until the 7th inning.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was different, but the experience, and I have to say it was the greatest of all my whole career, because I had the books. I had to write down everything. We had meetings on the pitchers. Even if we saw the pitcher on Tuesday and we faced him again on Saturday, we still had a meeting on him. We had a meeting every day, and that's what I needed. I didn't have a choice to choose or not to go to the meeting. I had to go to the meeting. I didn't have a choice to lift weights. I had to lift weights.
So you needed that
I
more
needed
structure.
that. Right.
You needed
I'm
that.
that type of person.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me to go run 4 miles, you're not going to get the 4 miles out of me. But if it's somebody behind me with a blowhorn or on a
You're
bike,
running 4 miles.
I'm running 4 miles. You tell me to hit for an hour by myself, lift weights by myself, I'm not going to do it. But with a personal trainer, you're going to get everything I got. And that's the type of person I am. And I know that. And I needed that structure to play baseball in Japan like that.
And you really kind of took to the culture as well,
did.
right? Like you learned the language.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did it take you to learn Japanese?
When we first got there, Chris, Louis, and I first got there, our interpreter gave us this book about the different dialects in Japan. I watched those two just toss that book in the corner. I took that book everywhere with me.
Yeah.
Because it works out. We have teammates from Tokyo. We have teammates from Hiroshima, teammates from Fukuoka. And I was in Osaka, and in Osaka, I speak Kansai Ben, which is the dialect for Osaka, which is more slang. Like in Tokyo, it's more proper. Like nani shite no in Tokyo, like in Osaka, it's like nani yato ne, like genki ka, like just short.
Wow,
and,
so
like,
quite a difference.
Totally different, yeah. But it's just like us here in the north, south, east, and west, and and I watched them guys just didn't even look at the book, and we had these meshes, these baseball, these our work cards, had our address, our name, and everything on it. And I used to go out and get lost. And when I got lost, I found one of Kentetsu cabs and just gave him my my meshi, and he'd say, "Oh, Rose-san," took me right back to my house. I would just go out and experience everything. My teammates loved him to death. We were really close because we had to be.
Sure.
But they would call our interpreters to go to the grocery store. Now, I don't care what country you're in. I can go to a grocery store. I don't need to know how to say egg in Japanese.
I can see.
That's a freaking egg.
Right.
That's a piece of chicken. That's I mean, these guys are driving 30 minutes away to come to take you to the grocery store. Oh, come on, let's go down there. I'll go down there with you and help you. I know what milk is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I spoke my broken Japanese in the beginning, and the grocery store people helped me. And then about the 4th year, I started putting sentences together because I kept my book. And then one day I had another teammate. I gave my book to, and he freaking lost. He lost it. It was new for him. I was like, oh, don't choke me. But, I asked I said, Masa and Fuji are interpreters. Sakamoto and Fujita, they break the names down short for us, easy to say. So, where'd you get that book from? He was like, I don't know. I couldn't find another book. But at that time, I was pretty good in general, basic Kansai Ben. Yeah. And my teammates were younger than me, which helped out a lot too. Because I was 27, turned 28, but our star, Nakamura Norihiro, was third baseman. He was 21. Center fielder was 20. We had two older guys than me, Furukubo-san and Suzuki, catcher and outfielder, but we had a young team, so we came up together.
Yeah.
We got good together. And they would speak Japanese to me just nonstop. And I'd be like, wait. Let me go get the interpreter. And they'd be like, no. Like, you don't need Japanese. You don't need the interpreter. No. Tuyako damen. So I just sit there and just listen to them just talk to me. And then over the years, Ohio daimasu, you say that to me every day, I'm going to realize that's good morning.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Or nakasita.
Yeah.
Well, you saying that in the morning. You want breakfast. I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah. So, but I enjoyed the culture because the food was so good, and I was enjoying baseball. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy baseball here in the United States, because I'm first and foremost a U.S. I love baseball in the United States more than anything. But like I said, I became a student of the game in Japan.
Now, how were you perceived by the fans in Japan in the beginning, and then towards the end? I imagine you became a fan favorite. But
my teams loved me. The other teams hated me. Like I was about to say to you, I got the records in a lot of different things. I also got all the records for getting thrown out of games as well too.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, 13. I'm 13, one a year. Hey, but sometimes two. But I'm the only player in Japanese history to get thrown out of spring training game. Yeah, that's all.
So you brought a little of that American attitude with you.
Yeah, I just didn't want them to think I was stupid.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to them, I'm 6 foot. That Japanese guy is 6'2", with Korean descent. Why are you calling that high strike on me? Just tell me there's a gaijin strike, which I nipped that in the bud too. As a gaijin, gaijin means outsider.
Yes. Yeah.
But gaikokujin means foreigner. It's a different. I'm not, and I didn't want him to call me sketo. Sketo means to help, which is not a defensive word to them, but to me, I am not the help.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm here playing just as much as we're in this together.
Yeah.
And I found out that I had a home run, grand slam, win the game. Big old picture of me hitting a home run, and it got the kanji right across. And I say, "What's Fuji? What does that say?" And he kind of stutter and pause, and I'm like, "What does it say? What does it say?" And he's like, "The help comes through," and I'm like, "The help? No." So I fought back when I had to, but I played every day.
Yeah.
I stayed healthy. I won 10 straight years of staying healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that really helped. So I played every day, and they knew what they saw, what they get. I could have been a little overbearing, but it was my job.
Yeah, sure.
And my mother told me when I was 15 years old, actually 10 years old, act like that ball is in my head and hit it out the ballpark. And I said to myself, if my mother said I can hit her in the head with a bat, that pitcher's in trouble. He's in trouble. I mean, she was great with she loved baseball. I mean, she understood the game of baseball. I mean, my mother taught me how to play baseball. Yeah, she was a baseball player.
Well, talk to me about the 2001 season, kind of obviously your most famous season where, first off, the team was having good success, right? You guys were in the thick of a playoff race.
Yeah, we went to the
and you were hitting, home run after home run, and chasing O's year home run mark.
Single season
home run mark. How was that year for you? Progress throughout the year, and then once you get close to beating the all-time legend, I mean, I don't know, O's kind of like, who would you compare O to here, for instance? Like a Mickey Mantle?
No, maybe Willie Mays, Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, okay. Yeah.
Well, no, let's go. Babe Ruth is, Babe Ruth.
But just
the God of gods.
Yes.
Yeah. Just someone that you throw rose petals on the ground when he walked.
Right.
And he was he was everything.
So how was that process like?
It's
gunning for his record.
People don't realize that O is half Taiwanese. He's not Japanese.
Okay.
So okay, let me get my bearings, because sometimes this story can get the best of me, because it was offensive at the end. But I of course, I had to play the role of that. It's not going to bother me. Records are meant to be broken. The whole cliche, yada, yada, yada. But but let me go back. People don't realize that year, the guy who hit behind me, Nakamura Norihiro, he had 47 home runs and 133 RBIs.
Wow.
And I had 55 and 132.
Yeah.
And I cussed him out because they weren't pitched to me the last 4 games, and he got 5 RBIs in the last 4 games to pass me. Nobody can catch. We had Ichiro over there. Ichiro, prior to that, Ichiro left in 2001.
Yeah.
And I knew nobody was going to get the batting title. He was going to hit 400 and 390 close to it. Ichiro was incredible. But home run and RBIs, I was going to put my stake in that.
Yeah.
But we played Cebu Lions, hit 55. We won. We had 5 games left, 4 against O's team. We go to Fukuoka the next day off, and then we go out to the ballpark, and we sit behind the batting cage for like an hour, taking pictures, signing baseballs, everything. O on one side, me on the other side. Shook the guy hand and everything. So I'm thinking, it's time. It's time. So I usually batted third, but we already clinched the playoffs. And so my coach said, I'm going to put you first, batting leadoff, so you get more bats. And the first pitch of the game, the catcher was Joe Jima. He said to me, "Go Menasai." And I said, "Go Menasai." Like, I'm sorry. I was like, "For what?" And start the game off, he stood up and stuck his hand out. They They walked me 4 times. They walked me 3 times. And my 4th at bat, my coach said, swing, swing, swing. So I was already out. I threw the bat at the ball and popped up to third base, got a standing ovation in their stadium. So I got the best of me. I said, Coach, it makes no sense for me to play no more. You know, he's not going to pitch to me. And O went into the paper saying it wasn't him. It was the pitching coach and the catching coach. And if anybody threw a strike to Rhodes, it's $1,000 per strike. The foreigners told me the story. And so I let it get the best of me. And I was like, man, he is full of crap. Everybody knows him, you know, and the sad thing about it is that O is a foreigner as well.
Right.
And I said that out loud in Japanese. There wasn't no taking it back.
Yeah.
And I was probably I felt bad after the fact, but at the same time, I thought it was time for his record to be broken.
Sure.
You know,
because it stood since 67 or something.
Yeah, and it's 2001.
Yeah.
So we finished the season again. I tipped my hat to Chivallote Marines. They gave me some pitches to hit, and I was 3-1. And this guy I looked for a fastball in. He threw me a fastball middle way, and a base loaded. And I popped up, and they caught it right at the wall. A sacrifice fly. So I tipped my hat to the coach, Yamamoto-san, and I told him thank you. And then we went to the World Series, equivalent to Nippon Ichi, equivalent to World Series. And we got our butts whipped. Yeah, 4-1. Yeah, had a home run to win the game. We won, but we got our butts whipped. Yeah, but I was sad.
Pretty big accomplishment to get to the World Series.
Yeah, and but it was the year was incredible. You know, I got all kinds of stuff: cars, motorcycles, extra money, everything. I got everything you can imagine, and it was a great year. I had to stay there until November, and I had to stay until the middle of November, and it was a long season, TV station after TV station and everything, but I was really disappointed. Now, hindsight, this is 24 years ago, and I was really disappointed, because I still have half those balls that we both signed on both sides in my house, and it's in storage, because I had to put it in storage until my new house was being finished, and I can't even look at them.
Really?
Can't look at them.
Yeah.
You know, someone's broke the record now.
Yeah,
but
I know.
But it wasn't the same when we were playing. You
Right.
know, and so nothing to take away from him, but I was really disappointed.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You did end up signing a 2-year deal with Tokyo after your time with the
Kintetsu Buffalo.
How was that experience playing for the Tokyo Giants?
Was it fun?
No,
it wasn't. I mean, it was. I loved baseball, enjoyed my time, but I wish that I could have stayed with Kintetsu. But after the year I left, come find out that Kintetsu sold the team to Sendai, so that's why they wouldn't give me I would have been the first foreigner to get a multi-year contract from Kintetsu. But I see the reason. I was like, just give me 2 years with an option for the 3rd year.
Yeah.
But I see why, because they sold the team to Sendai, so the team was leaving. And that's when Blue Waves became the Oryx Buffalo, so Kintetsu and Oryx became one team. Yeah. So went there, no facial hair, curfew, you have to wear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's really like the Yankees, where it's like cut your hair.
Just everybody's everywhere. They're following you everywhere. I was single, and when I would go out, they would have me in this. They had this book called Friday, like one of those gossip books, and they would call me the home run king and the night king, and I was like, it's freaking Sunday. We got Monday off.
Yeah.
Come on,
let me enjoy myself.
I'm not by myself. There's like 3 other foreigners with me, but I'm the only one. Yeah. But it wasn't fun, because it was all. And my second year with the Giants, I got fined $50,000 because I called them racist in Japanese again. I was playing left field.
Called the coach?
Called the whole team, the Giants.
Oh.
Kyojin Homani Sabetsu. And I said to myself, and I got all the way to the hotel without saying anything. And Fukuoka, this dome is here, and you go under, and Tokyo Dome as well too. The dome is here, and you go underneath, and you walk to the hotel, so you don't need a bus or anything. Oh. And so I was playing outfield. We were playing against the Yakuto Swallows. We were up 2-1, and Manny Ramirez, which the one thing that I regretted that I didn't stay to get my 500 home runs and my 2,000 hits, which I could have got because I was offered 2 more years of contract. But I promised my son when he became a high school student, I would retire. I was 42. I could have kept playing. He ended up getting 2,000 hits, and the regret I have is not getting 2,000 hits and the 500 home runs because it was right there for me.
You were going to get it. You weren't
slowing down. I was
at all. You were
walked
40, 45. You retired after hitting my 47 home runs.
Right. So, and that was but he hit a ball in left center field gap, and I wasn't really. I guess I was half biting. I wasn't half-assing. I was just backing up in the wrong place. And the ball shot, and it went to where I was supposed to be, and he ended up hitting a triple. We lost 3-2. And walking into the locker room, sitting down, and my outfield coach just come and just let me have it. Let me have it, just cussing me out in Japanese. And I was like, my bad. It was my fault, and it was my fault.
Yeah.
I should have been farther over where the ball.
Yeah, but it wasn't an effort.
It wasn't. Yeah, I just should have been further over.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong place, and I get up to go to the bathroom just to get away from him because he's yelling nonstop and just nonstop. So I get up and go to the bathroom, and he grabs my shirt and he breaks my chain.
Oh boy!
So I just turned around, and he was un cuatro. He was. He was a little guy. I just grab him and I just drag him all the way across our food spread and just right to the end. And I'm about to hit him and kill Hara-san like, Tuffy, no. And I was like, I will F you up.
Yeah.
So I grab my bag. I just walk and it's 100 cameras and microphones behind me talking. And they're talking in Japanese. But my problem is when I'm mad, I can't speak Japanese, which is a good thing.
Yeah, probably a great thing.
Yeah, but this day, this day here, I get all the way to the hotel, and they're like, and one of the reporters said to me, Rhodes, what do you think about the Giants? And instead of me just keep on walking, I turn around, man. Kyojin Shibakuzo, Homa Risabetsu. And I slammed the door and I said, F the Giants, they are racist. And somebody got a picture of me like a madman. Shut the door. I go in the room, go to sleep, and get a call the next day from my head coach, which was cool. Yeah. Oriuchi was a cool head coach. Now, he was cool. It's just the environment wasn't for me. And like Randy Johnson didn't want to play in New York. Just some places are not.
You don't want to play for you fit your personality.
Right. And so I get in there and I'm sitting there and my interpreter's there and the owners, the board is there with the owner and they're talking in Japanese and I don't hear anything. I'm just suspended, not suspended. We're fining you $50,000, and I was like, okay. So my interpreter's like, "You're not gonna fight back?" And I was like, "Man, I'm done."
You're like, "What am I gonna do?" And I did throw the guy across.
I threw him across. I should have. Maybe they could have. And it's in your contract. They could have suspended me for the rest of the year.
Right.
So I just got fined $50,000, and played that day, hit a home run, win the game. Yeah. And but that night, the next, and karma's a F, and B, it can get you. I tore my labrum the next day, swinging a baseball bat, and I can't say that I didn't tear my labrum, dragging him across the table or not. I really don't know. Yeah, because how did that from swinging? I've been doing this
forever. You haven't been hurt.
Yeah, haven't been hurt. No,
12 years.
12, nothing. So how's that possible?
Yeah.
So, and then tried to get like 12 cortisone shots because I was at 27 home runs and I get to 35. It's my option. And all and the option was $10 million.
Oh wow!
So I was like, shoot it.
I got to get
shoot it.
Put something in me.
Yeah, shoot it. So and I was at 27. This is August the 1st. So we had over 50 games left, and I had needed.
You would have done it in your sleep.
But we went to Hiroshima,
and I was in the outfield, and I went to catch a ball, and it was like 10,000
Yeah.
stabs in my shoulder, and I was done. I couldn't even do it. But I had a $2 million buyout, so I was like, okay.
Okay, well,
But I still think about the
the other 8
I was
that you
really,
could
I was been like, you know, let me get this. I'm going to take the option and then have surgery. But you know, karma works.
Yeah,
It works
yeah.
its magic, and you know, I had to take my losses.
And then you finished. We kind of discussed. You kind of took a year off.
The
to
rotator
heal.
cuff. I end up
Yeah.
from me taking those cortisone shots, just having a labrum tear. Could have due to winter, just 30 days could have healed itself. You know, with rehab, I tore my rotator cuff
Yeah.
because I was trying to get juiced up and just tore. So I went from torn labrum and a rotator cuff. So that went from 2 months to 8 to 10 months. Yeah. So.
And you finished out your career with the Buffaloes.
Yeah, broken hand. Yeah, I they called me, offered me a 2-year contract, and I said to my son, they want me to go back 2 years, and his face was like, oh, again. And then I said, no, thank you. But I let him have it till this day. I said, you cost me $10 million, but hey, you cost me some money. I let him have it. But he's a great guy. He's 39. He's moving out here in June.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
He got coaching and a teaching job at Arcadia High School.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Coaching baseball or?
No, basketball. He quit baseball. He went to college, played college basketball, everything. He playing baseball, and I got home one year, and I was like, why'd you quit baseball? I mean, this was the funniest thing, but I was serious, and he was serious. He said, you know, Pops, he called me Pop, have a seat. And I said, so why you quitting baseball? And he looked at me, with a straight face and said, you would drive me crazy if I played baseball. And then I paused and took a breath, and I said, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Enjoy your life. Yeah, but he was a pretty good second baseman too. He played well, good hands. He played well, but he loved basketball more.
When you look back, how do you look back at your career? Do you look at it as 2 separate careers, kind of your major league, and then, and are you happy? Are you happy with both careers, really? I mean, to make it to the major leagues and play, up and down for 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people can say that also.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But then to learn from that and become an all-time great in Japan, it's almost like destined for you to do that, right? So you got to be pretty satisfied with what you did.
Yeah. You're put in situations exactly when you're supposed to be put in those situations. I wasn't ready for Major League Baseball. Mentally, ability, yes. Mentally, work ethic, just the work ethic. My work ethic was not good at all in Major League Baseball. I did exactly what I needed to do to get by, and eventually that caught up with me.
Did you ever, though, once you figured out how to play the game, did you ever 6 years in the Japan League when you were playing so well, did you ever go, you know what, I've got this figured out now. Let's go back and try to do it in the major league level back at home?
Well, I didn't think about it because I knew I was going to play every day, bat third, no matter what, good or bad. I didn't think about it.
Okay.
But I got home one winter after hitting 51 home runs, and I got a phone call from the Seattle Mariners and the St. Louis Cardinals. And they were like, we want, well, they don't know that they're both called.
Yeah.
And we want you to come back. And I said, okay, what do you guys offer me? They said, one offered me 1.8, one offered me 1.6, but to be a 4th outfielder. And I was rolling.
That's crazy.
And I said,
you're like, I just hit 51 home runs, dude.
And I'm hitting third every day, good or bad. I know I'm gonna play 140 games if I'm healthy. And I'm doubling that on top of incentives.
I was going to say, you're making more than that.
On top of the incentives, I'm going to have to pass. But it wasn't the best opportunity or the right time. But you think about that.
Sure.
Sure. Being a Major League Baseball player is what I've always dreamed of being. Becoming a foreign player, played in Japan, was a great experience and probably the best decision I made for my life.
Yeah.
Because it taught me how to become a baseball player. It taught me how to become a student. But the curiosity always, what if, how would I fit? Because I was ready.
Oh, yeah, you're totally ready.
Yeah.
You've figured out your power surge too.
Yes.
You know, yeah, you got to wait and sleep sometimes. It's going, what
yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy
Yeah.
with my career, but baseball in the United States is everything that I wanted to be a baseball player. There's nothing in my eyes like it.
Yeah.
I mean, those ballparks, that Bermuda grass, the smell of the grass, the dirt, the field, the 60,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always dreamed about that.
Well, I mean, you accomplished it, though.
Yeah.
You did accomplish it.
I wanted to, the thing about it is that I knew I was ready to do it. I wanted to see
at the same level.
At the level,
At the same level.
What can I do at that mental
Sure.
level now? Because I knew I was ready then. And I'm still 30, 31.
Yeah.
And that's baseball. That's still a good year.
Yeah.
But I couldn't turn down the guaranteed money. I knew I was successful, and I knew I had to figure it out in Japan.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. If they would have guaranteed me playing every day, that would have been a different ballpark. So they said no. I mean, I respect it. I wouldn't have guaranteed me playing every day either. But the Cardinals, come on, and the Mariners, and the Mariners had a nice squad.
Yeah, sure.
Back then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we're going to end it with my shooting the shit segment. Just kind of a few rapid questions that people probably want to know. So, and again, I appreciate you doing this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Favorite thing about living in Japan?
The food.
Right.
The food was incredible. Incredible.
One Japanese word every foreign baseball player should know playing over there.
Choshi wa do desu ka? That's a whole sentence, but yeah, how's your condition?
Yeah.
Choshi. Yeah. Because they ask you that every day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite moment of your career?
94, the Cubs, 3 home runs opening day. Yeah, even though we lost that, I mean, I've been to World Series in Japan, but the 3 home runs opening day in Chicago. And that's my.
Doesn't get better than that.
Not that one.
Harry Carey announced too. Yes. Do you ever go back and watch the Harry Carey calls?
Yeah, I still get a call to this day. It was this 25th anniversary. It was the 30th anniversary. I get a call every opening day from newspaper reporters all over the country about the opening day.
Yeah,
I see it on the baseball channels all the time.
Yeah,
as well.
That's awesome. Favorite stadium that you played in Japan and America?
Japan, Yokohama, great small ballpark, really outfit. That's what a military base was. Really nice, great place to play. And Wrigley, old. I mean, I played in Fenway as well. It was one of those two, but I would say Wrigley. Yeah.
Best player that you played with and against?
With how far back?
Yeah, the whole life. High school, yeah.
Oh, King Griffey Jr. I'm a junior, yeah. And I will give Jeff Bagwell and Luis Gonzalez a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they were not just great players, they were really good friends.
Hardest pitcher you faced?
Randy Johnson.
Yeah. Right away.
Come on. 6'11", left-handed. You can't even see his arm, man. Randy Johnson. Yeah.
Nice. And the way I end everyone, you're going to think it's a strange question, but I end it with this question with everybody. What's your best, emergency bathroom story?
In Japan, they have total toilets with the washlet, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I have that in all of my home. I've brought all those back. Even in Costa Rica, my Costa Rican home, I have one. I was in Pawtucket playing AAA, got sent down, and wasn't second game of W, wasn't playing. So I was in the stall, not standing, sitting, and the center fielder who was playing got hurt. So they called me in the middle of a session, we will say. Yes. I mean, it was, and it was kind of like a change of diet. Number two.
Boy, it was ugly.
I had to get the stool to put your feet, and they hollering, yelling like I'm in a locker room messing around. Wow, was sitting around.
What are you going to do?
Come out, and I come running out, and I come running out right to center field, and the front end of my uniform is still sticking out. And and after you do number 2, you don't want to be around people.
Yeah,
it's for a little bit. You need a little break. So I had to go out there and finish the inning. Yeah, and then I had to lead off the inning the next inning.
Perfect.
How about that?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what we're looking for with that question, man.
Yeah.
That was a rough one.
Oh, that's good. Well, again, thanks again, dude. This was awesome. Again, we could have been here for 4 hours. It's probably already my longest one, but no, it was awesome speaking with you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, bud.